Hey guys, this is Krishna. I just want to share my experience on Cloudways. It has been a great experience since I switched to Cloudways. I believe I was on Cloudways. I started being on Cloudways. I think last year, so it's been about a year now. I was before on SiteGround, and I used a couple other things as well. But really, just so far, my experience on Cloudways has been really great. But not only as far as the performance, but also just the management of the different websites that I have and all those different things. So, what I want to do today is really just to discuss the pricing of Cloudways, and I'm just going to provide a little bit of my feedback as I go along here. So really the support is really 24/7. There is a couple ways that you can contact support. It could be either via chat, or you can, for a little bit more issues that they need to investigate, you will need to open a ticket, but it's really transparent there. You really pay as you go, right? So you can change plans at any time. So actually you're paying hourly, right? But you build monthly. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna say. So depending on what resources that you're using, that's gonna be billed to you. You're gonna be charged for it hourly, and at the end of the month, you just receive one bill for all the different resources that you have there. Free migration, that is correct. So if you're coming, and that's basically what happened. If you're coming from SiteGround to Cloudways, there is a way for you to migrate the data. So the thing, free migration, I believe I've done it on my own. So because I'm a little bit tech savvy and all those things. So, but I do believe that they're able to help you out to bring over your website into Cloudways. Okay, free SSL certificate, and this is really easy for you to set up. I think I would probably say that's probably one of the easiest that I've seen. You just need to say that you want, you just go in the back, and I'm going to be showing you that. You're just gonna go in the back end there and select that you want to activate the SSL, and you just need to make sure there will be just an extra step that you will need to do in your domain registrar, just to say that you're owning the domain and you want to have SSL for it, and that's pretty much it. So it's a two-step process, and it goes along really quickly. So no lock-in, so you're really not tying in a contract. You can cancel at any time, and unlimited application. This as well has been definitely true. So you have the choice of, you can select, you can have as many servers as you want, or if you just a little bit like me, usually they recommend that if you have several applications, that you have those applications in different servers for a little bit more performance and security, for better performance and security. But if you have nothing really too demanding, or you're not running an application that is serving like several people, right? I would just say you can just have one server, and on that server you can have several applications. And basically that's what I'm doing. I have about 5 websites just on the server. They don't get a lot of traffic. If you have one that starts to get a lot of traffic, that specific website is gonna be hogging a little bit, pretty much all of the resources of the server. But in this case over here, if your website have decent traffic, they can all be there. And as long as you have spaces and basically the matrix that they provide you in the back end, you're able to see where your resources are, right? So if you see that you're reaching about 75% to 80%, that you're using all those resources as far as storage, so space, RAM, and bandwidth. Yes, and those will be the 3 metrics that you're gonna track. So if you see that you're reaching 75 to 80% in those metrics there, then you need to upgrade, and that as well is really easy to do. So when we jump in here, they provide 5 servers for you, 5 providers of different servers over here: DigitalOcean, Linode, Vultr, AWS, and Google Cloud. So the first 3 over here, those ones, they are the pricing for those ones is definitely more affordable. Some of them, so such as DigitalOcean and Vultr, will have a standard and a premium. So that's really a little bit about the performance. So that will be different servers that DigitalOcean and Virtual are actually providing that have a little bit more of a little bit more performance, right? So if you want that, personally, I've tried it. It's really hard to notice the difference, but if you, like I say, if you have an application that is really critical on performance, then this is really gonna make the difference there. So when we jump here at DigitalOcean, so they actually changed it before. Also, so basically when we come up here, you're gonna find over here the standard, right? So the standard over here start at $10 a month. Really, 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 really affordable, right? So with that $10 a month, what you're getting here, 1 GB of RAM, one core processor, 25 gig of storage, and 1 TB of bandwidth. And that's, if you just have one website, that's more than enough for you, right? And if that, depending on how many visitors really, and I think over here, if you just have one website and you need to move, so depending, I would probably say the issue will come maybe with the 1 GB if you're using a lot of plugins, right? If you're using a lot of plugins, that could be an issue given a certain point, and the bandwidth here will be just the number of traffic that you're getting, right? So contrary to some of the other providers out there that would say, you can only get 25,000 visits, that kind of thing, that doesn't come up here, right? The 1 TB, that one, I can't remember anymore, but I believe one day I actually sat down to try to figure out how many visits that would come down to. It's somewhere around, I can't remember, but I would say somewhere around either 100,000 and 100 million visits that you will actually get with this 1 TB of bandwidth over here, right? And you can definitely scale. So depending on what you need later on, if you feel like you have more visitors coming to your website, you can definitely move to the different plans over here. The one over here, they say most popular, that is definitely true, and that is mostly because of the 2 core over here, right? So the servers that are available here would be, just like any computer. So if your computer is doing several things all at the same time, so if you have several applications open, right, so it needs a little bit more power. So that would be the case if you have 5 websites, 4 websites, 7 websites, and you're trying to do, they're all doing a lot of things all at the same time. That's when you're gonna start needing those 2 core over here, right? But most of the time, if your website are not too demanding, you'll be fine with either of those over here, depending on your needs, right? So if you need a little bit more added boost, you're gonna see here for an additional $2, you're gonna see, so the difference here, so it doesn't really change a lot as far as what we have here. Is just the way those servers are configured in DigitalOcean. They operate a little bit. The premium one are gonna be a little bit more performant. Okay, so the main thing over here, what you're gonna decide which provider to choose over here is gonna depend on, number one, the resources that you need, but as well you also need to look at the data centers. So over here is letting you know where are, so when you're going to create a server, right, and I'm going to show you that in another video, you can decide, you can let Cloudways over here know where you want that server to be located, right? And usually that comes into place depending where your main customers are coming from, or maybe where you're located and where you're doing businesses. So this is where, so the closer that server is, or the data center here is to your visitors, the faster it's gonna work for them, right? So that's basically what we have over here. So I would say DigitalOcean would be the one that have a little bit less server than the other. So if we come up here, we have Linode, they have a little bit more, right? Virtual actually has quite a bit, and the big guys over here, AWS and Google Cloud over here, they basically have also quite a bit, right? So the other thing to keep in mind here, just with what we're discussing here, with DigitalOcean, Linode, and Virtual, when you want to scale, you can definitely scale up. However, at the moment, you can't really scale back down as you wish, right? If you want to scale back down, you will need to create a new server, and it's really easy to do that. You can definitely just clone whatever server you have now, right? And all the different applications that you have there are all going to be in a new server, right? But the thing that you will need to do is you will need to configure some of the things there in the back end, and I can explain a little bit more later on. So the main thing I just want you to keep in mind is with DigitalOcean, Linode, and Virtual over here, you can scale up easily. However, to scale down, you will need to create a new server for it. However, when we come up here for either AWS or Google Cloud, the pricing is a little bit more, right? But with them, you can scale up and scale down really at any point. So just depending if you feel like out of a sudden you have like an increase of visit of business, you can scale it up. Maybe it's holiday season, and you have an e-commerce website and you get a lot of traffic. This is why you can scale up just to make sure that you won't have an issue, and you can scale back down when everything is done. So that will be just the main difference here, and as well depending on what kind of resources that you need. But if you just you just have a couple websites that just provide a few information there, nothing too nothing too fancy, you will be just fine with either DigitalOcean, Linode, or Vultr. Okay, so let's come down here. They do have quite a bit of info here, and I believe as well they do provide it here at the bottom here. So I did mention the free migration here, 24/7 as well. They're there. So this is what we have. I'm just going to comment on some of them, right? That the one that I know. So 24/7, like I said, you can either chat with them or open a ticket for a little bit more investigation on their end. Manage backups. So that is correct. So with the backups, usually for backups, if you're using and the application that we're talking about here that you're gonna be adding here, most of the time what I've seen is gonna be WordPress, right? But you can definitely have different type of applications. So you can have WordPress website, you can have WooCommerce website that you can have there, but as well you can also add either if you have an application that is made on PHP. If you have an application that is using Laravel, or if as well you're using Magento, that as well you can have over here. But most of the time, WordPress, that's gonna be the one that you're probably gonna install, but depending on your needs. So the reason why you might go, so if you have a special application such as PHP and probably PHP or Laravel, I just think if you're using Cloudways, it's really because they're managing a lot of the setup for you, because you could go straight to DigitalOcean, and I would say those prices here would be slightly down. So instead of maybe 10 in this one over here where I was at DigitalOcean, instead of maybe the standard over here paying 10 over here, I would say if you go straight to DigitalOcean, it would be somewhere between $6 or $7 a month, right? So oh no, you know what, actually it would be $5 a month. They actually double, it's actually double the thing, but you're saving time as far as setup, right? So as far as setup, you're already saving time over here for the setup. So that's the thing there. So for the backup, what I was talking, so manage backup. So the reason why I went into the tangent is just because I was saying that most of the application that you're going to be using probably is going to be WordPress over here. And with WordPress, usually there is an application as far as managing backup for the application would be Updraft Plus, right? But Updraft Plus only manage backups for that one application, right, that it is installed into. However, over here you can manage the backups for the server. So if a server has 5 or 10 applications, that backup is for the 5 or 10 applications, right? So for the whole server. So that's one of the advantages that you have here. The one-click free SSL installation as well, that is definitely correct. I did mention it at the top here. It's really a couple of clicks. Really, you just say that you want the SSL. You need to confirm that you own the domain, and basically it is activated. So really seamless there. Dedicated firewall. This is something that they actually have. In their system, in their infrastructure, but as well there is a couple options there where you can actually see some of the different bots, and you can definitely ban them from from accessing your website as well. Regular OS and patch management. This is something that they do. 5 cloud providers. Those are the 5 that we just discussed here. So DigitalOcean, Linode, Vultr, AWS, and Google Cloud. Right, and like I say, for the first 3 over here, it would be easy for you to scale up, but to scale down you need to create a new one, but a new server. But for AWS and Google Cloud, you can scale up and scale down at any time. Unlimited application installation, and that is correct. So you can install, so in one server only, you can have as long as your server can sustain it. You can have as many as you want. So right now on one of my server, I have about 5 applications, and they're really working well. I haven't had an issue with the website being down, and that was one of the things that I had that pushed me to move with SiteGround. That was happening, and as well the performance sometimes with WordPress. I had some issues there, and I'm gonna do another video to compare a little bit Cloudways and SiteGround, because SiteGround is usually recommended quite a bit of time. Recommended a lot for people that have WordPress and want to have a hosting, and I'm gonna get into that in another video. So over here, 60 global data center. We looked at it. So the one that have quite the most would be Vultr, AWS, and Google Cloud. Right, the data centers where you can have your server. Launch 10 applications through one click. Right, like I mentioned, you can have WordPress as an application, WooCommerce, and so it would be a WordPress WooCommerce application. PHP, Laravel, and Magento would be the other option. Multiple databases, you can definitely do that. So if you come up here, you're gonna see you have the option of selecting either SQL, right, or MariaDB, depending on your needs. But I would say really for most applications, they're gonna be using MySQL. But if you're using MariaDB there, it's definitely possible. Multiple PHP versions, so it comes with one of the latest the latest version of PHP. I think PHP 7 point something, right? But depending if your application is running on a legacy PHP version between 5.6 and PHP 7, you can definitely have that as well. You can select there. So PHP 7.2 ready servers, this is good. CDN, they do provide a CDN, but probably the way I handle it, I just use Cloudflare for CDN. I don't know if they charge anything extra for the CDN, and I can't really comment on it because I haven't used it, but it's available there if you need to. Okay. Optimize stack with advanced cache. So this just to say that they do have quite a bit of caching there that they're using. Varnish, Varnish, so Memcache, Varnish, and Redis. Usually I turn off Varnish. That was part of some of the when I was setting up the server, and I actually experienced it. So when the cache actually kind of remembers some of the configuration of your website, right? When the visitor comes to the website, it tends to remember things that was there before. However, what I was finding was I was noticing some glitches here and there, and basically when I did some research, some people have recommended to actually turn off Varnish, right? Maybe it's working for a specific application, and if I do remember well, especially if you have e-commerce, it's really recommended to turn off Varnish. It might have changed, right? Like I say, really I had Cloudways for about a year, so most of that setup was done a year ago, and they're always doing they're improving the software and their infrastructure. So maybe it might have changed, but at the time that's what it was. Okay. Built-in WordPress and Magento Cache as well. This is just caching. Pre-configure PHP and FPM. That's probably just part of the setup there. Seamless vertical scaling. So this is what I was talking about, where you can easily scale if you need more resources. And those, so depending on what you really need, it will be either more RAM, right, or more storage, right? So do you need 25 gigabyte, 50 gigabyte, or 100 gigabyte? And the last one would be bandwidth, as far as, you know, people coming to your website, how many of them can the software actually sustain. So that's what we have there. SSD based server, and this is just the type of server that they have there. So they're using the solid state drive technology, which is just, it's better than hard drive. It provides you a little better performance, you know. And so if I just come up here, you're gonna say SSD ensure faster performance and reduce page load times for your website. So just better performance overall, right? Dedicated environment, so you're not sharing your server with anyone, right? So the address of your server and your server is just for you. And this is what I like, because some of those other guys out there, some of those other hosting providers, they say it's something, you know, it's dedicated area or it's only you, but you actually you ended up sharing it with some other people. So if somebody is hogging all the performance in your server in some way, your site get affected. But with Cloudways, I haven't had, you know, it has not happened. So it's really dedicated to you. Okay. Staging areas and URLs. So basically, and that's another feature that really at the beginning was really pushing me to switch to Cloudways. For a lot of the other providers, they're gonna charge for having those options of staging, but over here all the different plans have it from the very beginning. So with the staging, it basically all it means is if you have a live website, you can clone the website or stage, so you can duplicate the website, make some changes to it, and make sure that the website is working, or your website or your application is working properly, and then you can push it into production, right? So instead of making those changes right into production and later on discover that your application is not working properly, you have a way to stage it first, make sure that it's working well, and then push it into production. So this is definitely an advantage here. Account management dashboard, their dashboard is probably one of the best out there that I've seen. Really clean, really transparent, and we're gonna have a look at it. Easy DNS management, so that as well is part of the setup there. Built-in MySQL manager, so you also have access to MySQL there. Usually what I use is so you have MySQL, but you also have access to the files, and you know, with FileZilla you have a way to configure all those different settings. You can definitely have access to it. One-click server cloning, so that's what I was mentioning. You can definitely clone your server with all the applications in it, and this is where most of the time, if you decide to maybe move to a different cloud provider, right? So either you're moving from Google, from DigitalOcean to Vultr, from Vultr to Linux, this is how you're gonna do it. Okay. One-click advanced server management as well, you know, this is just part of the option that they're offering there. Server and app monitoring. So yeah, so you definitely see a lot of metrics there that's available to you. I have not really seen anybody offer that kind of monitoring there. So you're able to see, like I mentioned, really the top ones. You know, the RAM. How are you doing on RAM, on space storage, and on bandwidth? But you have some other things that you have down there that definitely show you every hour, every minute, basically how your server is doing, right? So we're gonna dive a little bit deep into that. Auto heating service is something that they provide. The good thing as well, you can try without a credit card, and like I said, I'm gonna provide a link in the description. You have a free trial with that as well. So if you just want to check it out, it's definitely a good thing. You don't need to put your credit card there. right? So those are the different options that I just wanted to go through here. Let me just make sure if there is anything that I think that I have not covered. So they do charge taxes, but that's mostly if you're in either in Europe, so in Malta or Singapore, I believe. So that's what we have here. The free trial already discussed that. So yeah, so you can have server on separate pricing plans. So you can have a server that is maybe using just the $10 option, and you can have another server, you know, if you have a different application into it that is a little bit more demanding, that's going to use you know, some of the higher performing servers there. Okay, can I launch separate application? This as well you can definitely do. Yeah, if you change your pricing in the middle of the month, it's just, you know, you're being charged hourly, and it's just gonna stop whatever plan that you had before, and it's gonna keep now charging you on the new plan. So you can definitely do that. You're gonna be charged at the end of the month. You just cancel it. You just delete the server that you're using there, and basically you're not being charged for that. And I believe if you exceed your bandwidth, they charge you a different pricing. So this is what they're saying here. You're gonna have a different pricing if you go over the bandwidth. And this is some of the things that's really gonna come into play when we're gonna discuss the difference between Cloudways and SiteGround. Is the email, right? So with Cloudways, it doesn't come with an email included, but you have the possibility of adding rack space. That's going to be an add-on, but you're going to be paying something more on top of it, and that's something that we're going to look at. So those are the different things that I wanted to go over here for pricing with Cloudways. Like I said already, so far it has been one of the best hosting for my website to date, and I did change quite a bit, right? I've used Bluehost, I've used SiteGround, and I used a couple more. I can't even remember the names, but the issue was really performance. Performance as was an issue, and sometimes as well pricing. Just the way they were structuring the price for the plans, it didn't really make sense for my needs. But I think this over here just provide a lot of flexibility, a lot of transparency, and the performance is great. So I'm gonna stop it there. I will have a couple more videos on that, but if you want to check it out, I have the link in the description for Cloudways, where you get some extra added advantage there. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave it here, and I will talk to you some other time. Okay.